I lost 75 pounds, and if I had to fix fat loss with only 3 changes, the first one would not be the gym. I'm Dr. John Go, I'm an ophthalmologist here in LA, and I help busy professionals lose fat with systems they can run on a real schedule. Most fat loss plans don't fail from one bad workout. They fail because the plan only works on perfect days. Then I kept failing until I built in 3 daily minimums that I could hit even on my bad days. Not the best case version of you, but the baseline version of you under stress. This is what I mean by floors. And here are those 3 floors. Let's go. Floor number 1, steps over cardio. A step floor beats a cardio session that you skip 3 times a week. Now don't get me wrong, cardio is good for you, cardio can help. I myself run every day. But for fat loss, the hidden movement across the whole day matters more than most people think. That hidden movement is called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's the energy you burn from walking, standing, stairs, pacing, living like a person who just moves. One hard cardio session is a painful hour. Your day is the other 23 hours. When I was losing 75 pounds, the idea of a step count wasn't too exciting. It didn't feel like some dramatic transformation tool, but it made the weeks honest. Surgery days, clinic days, commute days, tired days. My steps told me whether my body was actually moving or whether I was pretending one workout covered the whole day. The practical floor is simple. Pick a step number that you can hit on imperfect days. For most people, that's 8 to 10,000 steps. If your baseline is lower, start 1,000 to 2,000 above that baseline and then hold it there for a couple weeks. The rule is a floor. A ceiling is what you hit when life's easy, but a floor is what still holds when life gets busy. Movement gives your calorie deficit a chance to work. The second floor is protein and calorie honesty. Most people underestimate the calories eaten and overestimate their calories burned. And the gap is usually not small. It can be hundreds of calories per day, especially from foods that look healthy. Almonds, nuts, oils, peanut butter, sauces, drinks, little upgrades that never make it onto your calorie log. For me, the biggest leak, hands down, was alcohol. Because it created calorie drift, worse sleep, louder hunger, and weaker food decisions throughout the day and the next day. So my rule became simple: 0 alcohol, no negotiation, no weekend exemption, no trying to make the math work around it. If alcohol dependence is in the picture, that is medical, not a willpower project, and you should get medical help before stopping suddenly. But for my fat loss system, removing alcohol made the week just easier to execute. That is the point of calorie honesty. It's not punishment, it's calibration. A meal can look clean and still be dense. A salad with enough oil, nuts, cheese, dressing, and restaurant portions can quietly become a really high-calorie meal. A spoonful of peanut butter can actually be 400 or 500 calories depending on that spoonful size. A pour of oil can become 300 or 400 calories before your food even hits the pan. This is where the calories leak. So here's what to do. Meticulously track all your calories for 2 weeks and be honest with the number on what you're actually eating. And what you want to do is you want to compare that number to your weekly average scale weight. Now you have a decent estimate of your true daily calorie burn. And once you have real data, you can make a real plan. Anchor your protein in all your meals. Greek yogurt, eggs, chicken, fish, lean ground meat, cottage cheese, tofu if you're vegetarian. Whatever fits your life. Protein controls hunger, protects muscle in a deficit, and makes the calorie target easier to live inside. But protein does not erase calorie drift. It is very difficult to outtrain a bad diet. That takes us to the third floor. Floor number 3. Lifting is the engine, not the burn. Lifting belongs in fat loss, but not for the reason that most people think. It's not there because a lifting session burns some massive number of calories. It's there because lifting sends the signal to preserve muscle. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body is deciding what tissue is too expensive to keep. Muscle is expensive. If you diet hard and you move more and you never lift, you're not giving your body a strong enough reason to keep the engine that is your muscle. The goal isn't to punish fat off your body. The goal is to make the calorie deficit count. 3 lifting sessions per week is the minimum floor I'd install. Try to hit compound movements twice per week. Squat, hinge, push, pull. The actual split matters less than the actual signal itself. Full body works too, upper lower than a full body workout. Push-pull legs can also work. For me, the goal was never living in the gym. It was giving my body enough signal to optimally keep muscle while getting leaner. Steps make the day count, protein makes the meal count, and lifting makes the deficit count. Now let's put all three together. Here's the framework. Don't fix 17 things come this Monday. Floor number 1, steps. Pick a daily step floor that you can hit on imperfect days. Floor 2, protein plus calorie honesty. Anchor protein at every meal and measure the calorie traps that usually fool you. Try to fully give up alcohol at least for a couple weeks. Floor 3, lifting. Focus on compound lifts and try to hit each muscle group twice per week. Sleep matters, it matters a lot. But for most busy people, sleep gets better when the day is built better. More movement, less alcohol, better meal structure, and training that doesn't destroy recovery. Sleep is not ignored, but instead it's supported by the 3 other floors. Most people don't need a more complicated plan. They need a plan with a floor. A plan with bare minimums that still ensures progress. Steps make the day count, protein makes the meal count, and lifting makes the deficit count. If you want the full fat loss framework behind all of this, watch this video next. Bye.